You're tired, not just physically, but soul deep. Every breath feels like a burden. Your thoughts, loud, messy, filled with questions. Why is it still this hard? Why haven't things turned around yet? Am I even built for this? You're not alone. This, right here, is where most people break. Not because they can't keep going, but because they believe the pain will never end. They look around at the chaos and think, this must be forever. But it isn't. Let me make one thing clear. Pain has an expiration date. Struggle doesn't last forever. Storms pass, seasons shift. And what feels impossible right now will one day become the very story that fuels your strength. You've already come too far to turn back. You've cried tears that no one saw. You've made sacrifices that others will never understand. You've carried burdens that would have broken someone else. So what now? Give up? Number, not now, not ever. You didn't endure this just to stop here. This isn't your finish line. It's your proving ground. Right now, life feels like a war zone. Your mind is heavy. The bills are suffocating. The doubt is loud. You feel alone. But even the darkest night ends. Even the harshest winter fades. Every fight ends with one last round. This, what you're feeling, is not the end. It's the wall. You think you've hit it? Good. Now hit it again. And again. And again until it cracks. Until it falls. Because behind that wall is the version of you that nobody believed in. Nobody except you. That version doesn't fold, doesn't flinch, doesn't quit. That version walks through fire and comes out forged in flames. Don't wait for the fire to cool down. Walk through it. Let it burn every lie that says you're not enough. Let it incinerate the old stories that say you're unworthy. You owe yourself the truth. No one is coming to rescue you. No coach, no applause, no savior. Only the grind, only the sweat, only the next step. But here's the secret. Better days don't come to those who wait. They come to those who fight, to those who stay in the ring even when they're bleeding, broken, and bruised. They come to the people who get knocked down and still manage to look life in the eye and say, is that all you've got? Pain is the process. Suffering is the signal. Doubt is the door. Walk through it. The ones who left, let them. The ones who doubted you, let them watch. The ones who never saw your worth, let them eat their words. Because you're not broken. You're becoming. Becoming someone who doesn't flinch when life punches first. Becoming someone who doesn't ask for motivation. Because discipline runs the show. You wake up not because it's easy, but because you made a promise to yourself. I don't care how I feel, I show up. That's how you win. When your soul is screaming, when your body is exhausted, when your dreams feel far away, that's the moment that defines you. Not the highlight reel, not the finish line, but this, the middle, the war. This is where discipline is born. This is where strength is sculpted. This is where legends are made. You want to quit? Of course you do. But don't. Because the pain you carry today will be the pride you wear tomorrow. And the same people who doubted you, they'll say they always believed. They'll try to walk beside you, but you'll know they weren't there. They weren't in the mud. They weren't in the silence. But you were, and that's power. You showed up, even when it sucked, even when you were drained, even when quitting made more sense. You showed upper. That's what separates the ordinary from the unbreakable. You know what separates the unstoppable from the forgotten? Not talent, not luck, not perfect timing. It's refusal. refusal to quit when nothing makes sense, refusal to bow down when everything in your life is screaming, enough, refusal to stop moving forward no matter how slow, because backward isn't an option. You're not soft. You're being forged. You're in the fire, and yeah, it burns, but it's not here to break you. It's here to reshape you. People say they want success. They say they want greatness. But the moment pressure shows up, they flinch, they fold, they fade away. But you fight, because you know what's on the other side of all this pain? Peace, power, purpose. You're earning something most people will never taste. A life built, not gifted. Look, it's easy to work when you're inspired. It's easy to grind when the world is cheering for you. But can you show up when no one's clapping? Can you move when your soul is tired and your feet feel like concrete? Can you push when the only voice you hear is doubt echoing in your mind? Because that's the test. That's where your real story's written. Not in the moments of hype, not when things feel good, but when everything is against you and you keep going anyway. Don't negotiate with weakness. Don't bargain with comfort. This is a declaration of war on every excuse, every doubt, every fear that ever whispered, "You can't do this. No more someday. No more when I feel ready." You're in it now. You're in the ring, blood on your knuckles, sweat in your eyes. The crowd's gone silent, and it's just you versus you. That version of you that doubts, that version that settles, that version that says, "It's too hard." Bury it, because listen, you've survived hell already. You've made it through nights that would have shattered other people. You've stared into the abyss and still found a way to rise. Don't you dare let that go to waste. Pain was never the enemy. It was always the path, always the signal, always the truth you didn't want to hear, but needed to. Part 3, own your pain, rewrite your legacy. Every step you take in suffering, you're earning something no shortcut will ever give you. Respect, not from the world, from yourself. That's the kind of confidence that can't be bought. The kind that's built in early mornings, in cold nights, in silent moments when your only reward is another rep, another step, another battle. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need more time. You don't need a cheerleader. You need fire. You need grit. You need that voice in your chest that says, "Today, I earn it." When your body aches, move. When your mind doubts, speak truth to it. When fear roars, roar louder. This world doesn't hand out victory. It doesn't care about your potential. It doesn't honor your intentions. It respects execution, consistency, obsession. And those better days you crave, they're not gifted, they're built. You laid the bricks every time you say yes to discipline, every time you move when you'd rather sleep, every time you fight through the noise and make one more move. That's what separates you. That's what makes you dangerous. They said you wouldn't make it. They laughed. They walked away. They whispered, "Give up. Let them talk." While they post, you practice. While they watch, you work. While they doubt, you build. And one day, when the lights are on and the stage is yours, they'll pretend they always believed, but you'll know. You earned this, alone, in silence, in pain. That's legacy. You don't need a plan. You need pressure, because pressure builds warriors. Friction shapes weapons. Pain creates people who don't bend when the world breaks. That version of you, the one you see in your dreams, the one who walks with fire in their eyes and steel in their spine, they're already inside you. They just haven't met enough resistance yet. So stop running from the hard things. Stop hiding behind fake progress. Stop blaming, hoping, waiting. The only way out is through. The days you're the most tired, the ones where your bones ache and your heart's heavy, those are the ones that matter most. Because on those days, everything inside you screams for comfort. Every excuse knocks on your door. Every doubt begs you to retreat. And that's when champions are born, not when everything aligns, but when everything collapses and they rise anyway. That's you. This is your defining moment. Not later, not someday, not when life gets easier. Now, you're in the storm, but storms don't last. They shape, they refine, they reveal what's been inside you all along. You keep waiting for the pain to end like it's a curse. But what if it's the key? What if the pain isn't here to punish you, but to introduce you to the real you? The version that's not afraid to bleed, the version that doesn't flinch when life hits back, the version that drags themselves through hell and smiles anyway. That's what's being forged in this fire, and that's why that you can't stop now. You've made it this far without a guarantee. No finish line in sight, no promises, only grit, only will. And that's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it yours. Nobody handed this to you. Nobody lifted you out. You built it with cracked hands and sleepless nights. So don't you dare walk away from what you've earned with your suffering. Let me tell you something nobody wants to admit. Most people quit right before the breakthrough, not because they ran out of time, but because they ran out of patience. They walked away when it hurt the most, because they didn't know that was the final test. You're at that test right now. This question mark. This is where most people break, but not you, because you've come too far to fall now. Every tear, every sacrifice, every "I'll try again tomorrow," it wasn't for nothing. You want the crown? Earn it. Not with hashtags and highlight reels, but with bruises, with silence, with relentless consistency when nobody's watching. You want to be remembered? Then do something that makes the world remember, outlast everyone, not with flash, but with fire, with daily choices that say, this is who I am now. This is the difference. Motivation fades, identity endures. And your identity? It's built every time you don't quit. You keep looking for something to give you permission. But the truth is, you don't need it. The only permission you ever needed was the one you give yourself. You already have the scars. You already have the pain. Now use it. Let it sharpen you. Let it harden your will. Let it rip off the mask and show the world who you really are underneath. Not soft, not broken, but rising. You think you're at your limit? Good, because that's where growth begins. Every rep beyond exhaustion, every step when your legs say stop. That's where the transformation happens. And no one else will see it. No one else will clap. But one day, they'll ask you how you did it. And you'll say, I kept showing up. That's it. Let them sleep. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. While they rest, you're building. While they quit, you're rising. And when they see what you've become, they'll say you were lucky. But you'll know better. You'll know it was blood. It was grit. It was saying yes to pain when your body begged for comfort. Part 6. Pain is the proof everyone wants greatness, but no one wants to suffer. They want transformation without the tearing, progress without pressure, elevation without exhaustion. that's not how it works. No pain, no power. If it doesn't cost something, it's not worth anything. You earn your future by sacrificing your comfort, by letting the old version of you die slowly, painfully, and without applause. You want freedom? Earn it in discipline. You want legacy? Build it in silence. You want peace? Walk through hell until you find it. That's the map. That's the truth. Not easy, but real. They told you to wait. Wait for the right time. Wait until you're ready. Wait for life to get better. But waiting never built anything. You build by choosing action when it's inconvenient, when it's raining, when it's cold, when you've got every excuse lined up, and you go anyway. You go because that's who you are now. You're not here for average. You're not here for easy. You're here for impact, for legacy, for something that outlives you. And that means pain. It means sacrifice. It means doing what others won't every day until they can't ignore you anymore. You've reached the place where most people quit, not because their body failed, not because they didn't want it, but because the voice in their head got louder than the voice in their heart. You know that voice, the one that whispers, "It's too much," the one that says, "You're not built for this," the one that lies. But you're not listening anymore. You've heard that voice before, and every time you listened, it stole something from you. Momentum, confidence, progress. This time is different. You're not turning back. You're not shrinking. You're not folding. You are standing in the middle of the fire and saying, "Burn me. I'll still rise." You've got to understand, the world doesn't reward those who dabble. It rewards the obsessed, the ones who don't hope to change. They demand it. They take it. They earn it. They leave nothing to chance because they know who they are and what they're willing to bleed for. Do you? Because that answer defines everything. This isn't about dreams anymore. This is about domination. This is about silencing that voice in your head for good. Not by arguing with it, by outworking it. You don't reason with doubt. You bury it beneath consistency, beneath discipline, beneath pain. You keep showing up until it has no power left, until the voice says, "Maybe we were wrong about you." And you say, "You were." You ever wonder why the world feels so heavy? Because it's waiting for you to carry it, to pick up your purpose and run with it. Not tiptoe, not hesitate, run. Because the truth is, most people don't want the responsibility that comes with purpose. They want the outcome, not the obligation. But you're built different. You don't fear responsibility. You embrace it like armor. You wear your effort like a crown. You turn your pain into fuel and your fear into fire. You're not made to sit on the sidelines and watch life pass. You're made to storm the field, even if you limp the whole way. Relentlessness isn't a mood. It's not a quote. It's not something you turn on and off. It's who you are every single day, when it's quiet, when it's loud, when you're cheered, when you're cursed, when you're winning, when you're broken. Relentlessness means you don't negotiate with failure. You don't bargain with fatigue. You don't pause when life gets inconvenient. You push through the resistance like it's part of the plan. Because it is. The pressure, the pain, the obstacles, they're not interruptions. They're invitations to become more. Most people try to escape discomfort. They run from hard. You run toward it. Because that's where the real work is done. That's where character is carved from stone. That's where legends are born. Not in ease, not in peace, but in pain. Because pain is the ultimate test. It asks you one question. Do you mean it? Do you mean it when you say you want to change? Do you mean it when you say you want more? Because if you do, you gotta bleed for it. You got to drag yourself through the fire and smile anyway. You don't rise because it's easy. You rise because you refuse to stay down. And the more you rise, the more unstoppable you become. Not because life gets lighter, but because you get heavier. Heavier with discipline, heavier with purpose, heavier with identity. You are no longer built for average. You are built for impact, and that changes everything. Part 9. The turning point. This is the point where you stop looking back. This is where the old version of you gets buried, right here, right now. Not because it wasn't good enough, but because it doesn't serve you anymore. The you that doubted, the you that waited, the you that needed a reason. All of it ends here, because you don't need a reason anymore. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need someone to clap for you. You are your own rescue, your own motivation, your own storm. You're not waking up to be seen. You're waking up to become something no one's ever seen before. You've already proven you can survive. Now it's time to thrive. You've walked through fire. Now build something with the ashes. You've been tired, broken, dismissed, doubted. Now let that become your fuel. Because when your story is written, you don't want it to say, they almost made it. You want it to scream, they never stopped. Part 10. The final push. You've got more in you, more power, more fight, more clarity, more strength. You just haven't had to use it all yet. But this chapter, this season of struggle, this is where that final reserve is tapped. This is where your soul says, it's go time. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of this pain. Stronger, sharper, bolder. That version isn't a fantasy. It's the result of what you're doing right now. One more rep. One more mile. One more morning where you rise before the world. One more day where you choose action over excuses. That's how it's built, not all at once, brick by brick, battle by battle. And when you finally meet that future version of yourself, you won't ask, was it worth it? You'll say, I'd do it all again, because the pride of knowing you never quit, that's forever. And better days, they're not just coming, they're being built by you right now. You're standing on the edge now, not of defeat, but of transformation. This is the moment that tests everything, not your strength, but your resolve. You've got calluses on your hands, scars on your heart, memories of the nights you nearly gave up, but you didn't. And now, you're closer than you've ever been. You don't need signs. You are the sign. Proof that grit beats talent, that obsession beats motivation. That discipline is the real currency of greatness. Right now, you're building a future you haven't even seen yet. Laying down bricks with every painful step forward. The world won't clap for you yet. That's fine. The world only notices when you've already won. And by then, you won't need their applause. Because you'll have something better, self-respect, proof, power. The finish line isn't visible, and that's the point. This path isn't supposed to come with guarantees. You're not here for guarantees. You're here for growth. You're not afraid of the dark anymore because you train in the dark. You're not waiting for light. You become the light. You don't need easy. You just need real. And real means hard. It means showing up when your legs don't work, when your mind begs for rest, when your heart whispers, quit. And you whisper back, not today. Part 12. Show me who you are now is the part of the story no one talks about. The invisible chapter, the lonely chapter, the one with no music, no crowd, no applause, just you and the grind and the doubt. This is where people break, but not you. You don't need a spotlight. You are the proof. You've shown up for yourself more times than they know. You've failed, stumbled, bled, but you got back up every single time, and that makes you dangerous. That makes you real, not because you avoided failure, but because you refused to let it define you. So go ahead. Feel the pain, feel the pressure, feel the doubt, and then keep going.